Harvin Network. I greet everybody upon this evening. This here is another Let's Talk About It video conversation, basically a continuation from yesterday and whatnot. The people wanted a part two, so here we are now. You understand? Here we are now, part two. It's Friday. We're looking to have a great conversation in general, continuing from yesterday. And y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor, preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church. So please do not lay claims of those titles on me. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody who's going to join us live now, in the middle, and those who are going to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. What up? What's up to everybody out there, even the people in the background? You understand? Let's go to the chat room right quick. What's up to Christopher Span? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Henry Ross? He says, I question if this the guy. He says the whole thing stinks. Wow. What's up to Shelly House? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Henry Ross says, what on y'all, I guess you meant what's y'all take on this political violence? What's our take on political violence? You understand? He said political violence. Political. Wow. Political. There's all types of violence, fella. You understand? Whether it's political, hip-hop violence, workplace violence, domestic violence. You understand? Domestic. All types of violence. Folks get angry about any old little thing. Whether it's politics, religion. Look how some of these folks was yesterday. Look how they was acting. Like idiots. Those who supported him. Yeah. You understand? Like Epic. Like Epic. Yeah, go do your research. Go watch his videos. Yeah. You told me to go watch the video, and I did. You agree with the fella. You understand? All his supporters, I hope y'all listening in. It's not that hard to dissect. You understand? It's not that hard. Very easy. Especially this guy. He's easy. You know what I mean? All right? You told me to go listen to this fella, right? Epic. You said, listen to him. You supported this guy. You did. You understand? Epic. Don't beat around the bush now. Don't run now. Don't run now. Because you was for him yesterday. Oh, now you copping the plea now. Now you copping the plea. You said you misconstrued a lot of statements, but I'm gonna let you go off. All you got to do is go back to the previous video and look at your comments. That's it. Simple. And people who was in here yesterday, listen, who was in here yesterday, who saw this person Epic rooting for this guy. I don't care what you said. You could say we as if he did, you still rooted for him. You know what I mean? No matter how you put it, you rooted for that fella. Simple. You know what I mean? So, I got a video, right, from his YouTube channel. You brought up, you said, Tony Harvin, something about don't discuss politics. Okay. I'm going to listen to you, Epic. You understand? I'm going to listen to you. Now watch this. You understand? Too easy. Right? You supported this guy. Simple. You're going to go to his video in a bit. All right? What's up with John Smith? Marcia? You and the guy named Nigel or something like that. Good evening. You says, good evening, everyone. Blessings. I pray for his children. For sure. I agree with that. You says, I don't promote violence at all. I want to know if everyone still feels the same today as they did yesterday. You said some said he wasn't prejudiced. Well, I've heard that. And just like somebody came on here yesterday and said, why are you saying he's a racist? I never said that. You know what I mean? I would have to listen to more of his videos to get a clear understanding if he's that. But my video today that I'm going to play is about the Bible in which he's talking about. You understand? We're going to play that video from his YouTube channel, not a short, as some of his supporters recommended yesterday. You understand? And we're going to compare it, right, to the preacher man. You understand? And see if Mr. Kirk is right and on point. Epic, you said read. I'm going to show you the difference between reading and reading something to understand it. And your fella Charles or Charlie, he had no understanding of how to understand the Bible. You understand? So we're going to play the preacher man. All right? About understanding the Bible. What your fella, Charlie Kirk, said about understanding the Bible versus what the preacher man said. All right? Too easy. What's up to Gwendolyn? Shout out to you. What's up to German? Henry Ross, you said this will keep happening because don't want nothing to do with actually helping folks on their mental health crisis. Very interesting comment at Henry Ross. What's up to BZ? Shout out to you. Odyssey, Brother Mello, Rebel Eric, SV, Teddy Reed, Sister Campbell, Joan Rogers. Rebel Eric says political or literal. If it ain't holy, it's devilish. Henry Ross says forgive, but some unbelievers say they're tired of thoughts and prayers. Well, key word, key factor, what you put in there, unbelievers. Unbelievers. You understand? Mr. Charlie Kirk family, they got to forgive that shooter. If they are truly Christians and whatnot, you got to forgive that shooter. Right off the bat. Hands down. You understand? If they're true Christians. Yes, it's terrible, it's messed up, it's gruesome, it's disturbing. I don't condone it. But as a true Christian, listen, you got to forgive right off the bat. Because you never know when your doomsday is coming. You understand? And if you got unforgiveness in your heart, how can the Lord forgive you? You understand? Epic. I read that. Epic. Did you read it? Huh? Matthew 6, 14 and 15 verses. In reference to forgiveness. Right? What's above that? The prayer. Our Father which art, etc., etc. Epic. Where you at? Huh? You want to talk about reading? There's a difference between reading, just to read, and reading and understanding. And when you have a holy preacher man to break it down, right? No, but you want to listen to Mr. Kirk, the politician. Epic. You rather listen to a politician to talk about the Bible than a preacher man. Epic. Where the followers at of this fella? Huh? You know? You picking a politician over a holy preacher? Wow. You said your statements were about morals and ethics. You sure? You sure about that? In fact, let me pull up that video from yesterday. And I'm going to go look at these comments that you was writing yesterday. All right? So I'm going to go to the video from yesterday. Folks got to be careful what they say, man. And you called me a contradictor yesterday, yet you doing it right now. You understand? Yeah, you doing it right now. So I'm going to keep that video on the side as it's playing so the chat room from yesterday can go so I can see the stuff that you was writing at Epic. You know? Here we go. I'm going to stop it right here. All right? So I want to play the video of Mr. Kirk about him talking about how to understand the Bible or whatever the case may be in reference to a question that somebody asked him, excuse me. All right, and we're going to go to it in a bit. I'm just trying to look for a little something right now. All right, so I was talking about Mr. Kirk yesterday. In mark 57 seconds of that video yesterday, Epic, you says, I'm sorry, but you're misinformed. Wow. Misinformed. So if I'm talking about the fella, right, and you said I'm misinformed, does that mean you agreed with him? Does that mean you riding for Mr. Charlie Kirk or whatever his name is? You also stated that if you don't understand what he's saying, Mr. Charlie Kirk, you said say that. This is that timestamp 2557 from yesterday. Epic. Morals he was talking about? You sure? You sure? You know, you also wrote, Epic, you also wrote this in the chat room. Y'all go check it out. Here's the link. Right? Look at the chat. Look at the chat replay. Look at it. Here is the link. Epic. You said he has thousands of hours of speaking. One clip would be assigning your opinion based off an incomplete premise. You wrote that. So you agree with him, right? You know? You wrote it. Epic. Now I'm gonna get off that video. Enough about you. So, this is his video, right? It's about 8 minutes, 35 seconds long from his YouTube channel, Mr. Charlie Kirk. He said this about 5 months ago. Here we go.
Some written questions.
Here we go.
We're going to start with some written questions today. Charlie, where would you recommend for new Christians to start when it comes to studying the Bible?
This is a politician. A politician. Huh?
Reading books, etc. Phenomenal question. So first and foremost, read the actual Bible itself. I know that sounds to be a simple answer, but reading the Word of God will never turn void. Secondly, and this is a great opportunity to segue, Ryan, can you find the John MacArthur clip recently, please? One of the greatest Bible commentaries. So if you are a baby Christian or a new Christian, awesome, praise the Lord. There's something called commentaries.
Sure. Wow. You rolling with a guy, right, who's encouraging people who just come into Christ to read the commentary? Really?
Commentaries are written by theologians or...
Remember, you said don't talk about politics, right, Epic? Or one of your followers or whatever the case may be. You said that, right? So this is a politician talking about the Bible. You understand? I took your advice. Here we go. We'll run that back a little bit.
There's something called commentaries. Commentaries are written by theologians or...
Look at this. Theologians. He's encouraging people who's coming to Christ right? To read the commentaries from theologians? Wow. And this is your fella. This is your fella.
Pastors, where they go verse by verse and chapter by chapter and offer commentary and explanation on what you are reading. John MacArthur, who is a phenomenal person and just amazing. He has Grace to You Ministries. He is one of the most disciplined and thoughtful and impactful fighters for Christ of this era. Just a wonderful human being. I've had the opportunity to speak with him on our program a couple times. John MacArthur has some of the best Bible commentaries.
He rolling with John MacArthur? Commentaries? Wow. You said run the comment where I said I'm Team God. Okay, you could be Team God, but you agreeing with this fella. Huh? Wake up. You was rocking with this fella yesterday. You know what I mean? What is it going to be? You know, if you Team God, you ain't rolling with a guy, right, who's encouraging people to read a commentary from theologians. You understand? Verbs speak louder than words. You could say you this, you could say you that, but the way you was talking yesterday, you rocking with a politician. You understand?
That of the modern era. John, I have almost all the MacArthur commentaries on almost every book of the Bible, just the one, the book of John. Now that might be a little bit heavy for some folks.
What? A little bit heavy?
But I would encourage you to work through other supplementary texts that are biblical that can help fasten your faith.
You hear this? You hear this nonsense? Hey, Epic, come back to Bible.
Viewers, this is how the devil used preachers, right? To reconstruct scripture. And in their subtle way, move them from the original context. That's right.
You hear that?
And integrate philosophy and theology and all type of artificial persuasion to water down the truth.
Whew. Wow. Just that right there. Just that part right there. Are you listening, Epic? Huh? Are you reading? Huh? Earth the Epic. Is anyone home in there? Is anyone home in there for you to understand?
That God Almighty have ordered. That's right. So they try to weaken the commandment. That's right. Thou shalt not steal. And because that commandment been watered down so much, your pastor, Reverend Thief.
In your case, Epic, your politician. In your case. Let me go to the chat room, man. We're going to go to the chat room for the most part and see what the people talking about. You know, we having a good conversation. No hard feelings in general. Right? SV says, Trump said he's sending National Guard to Memphis to stop the violence. The Democrat mayor is in support of it. And the Tennessee governor. The National Guard? Haven't really looked into that more so. What do I think of it in general? I don't know about that one. You understand? Why they wait till now to do something like that? Why now? All right? What's up to, what is that? Israel? You says, it's Babylon. All right? What's up to Georgina Fleming? Shout out to you. Span says, Kirk said many things that was right and many things that was wrong. For sure. Odyssey says, as Christians, we got to forgive Tyler Robinson. He ain't do nothing to me. What you talking about? I got to forgive him. Why I got to forgive him? He ain't do nothing to me. What did Tyler Robinson do to me? Nothing. You understand? That man ain't do nothing to me. The family of Mr. Kirk got to forgive him. You said we got to forgive him. That man ain't do nothing to me. Now, if he did, of course I would forgive him. But he has done nothing to me or my family. You understand? Prodigal Son says Kirk was right most of the time, just keeping it a buck, rather he lived in the hood or not. All right? Brother Mello, what up? What's up to Mr. Dunbar? What's up to Noel? Shout out to you. Dunbar says, this is a horrible thing. Anytime you unalive someone, it is wrong. I agree. Span says, for me, Kirk was iffy, but I must admit he said some things that was true. Prayer goes out to his family. All right? SV says, Mr. Kirk dropped out of community college and has no background in law or politics. But he called, what is that? Keontae Jackson, DEI hire when she graduated from Harvard Law with JD Magna. I don't know what that is. Is that like a fraternity, a sorority, or something like that? I don't know what that is, unless you had a typo that way. So somebody was speaking about Tony Harvin had no education in reference to the video yesterday, and this fella's a community college dropout. Wow, it's crazy. Here it is. You have me. See, I didn't speak about my education yesterday. I don't need to do that. We don't need to toot our own horn. I'm studying criminal justice and elementary education. We don't need to do that. Yet this fella dropped out of community college. Wow. You understand? Folks got to be careful when they say somebody's uneducated. You don't even know a person's background. To the individuals that were supporting this fella and said that comment. Be careful. You understand? All right. What's up to David B? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What are you talking about? What color is Christ? We ain't here to talk about that. And Mr. or Mrs. Israel, or however you want to pronounce it. We ain't here to talk about what color is Christ or what did he died and who is he coming back for. What color is Christ? What does it matter what color he is? You're still going to die one day. You think color is going to matter when you die? You got to be a fool. You understand? You got to be a fool. I can care less if he's white, black, whatever. What does that matter for your salvation? That's not going to help me get into the kingdom. Lord, I'm black. I'm a black man from the hood. Yeah. I'm a black man from the hood, Lord. I should automatically make it in because I'm black. Idiot, man. What's wrong with these Israelites? What's wrong with them? Foolish. I don't know what's wrong with you Israelites. Because you black. What, all the other people was born to go to hell? You can't be that stupid. I don't know what's wrong with these Israelites. They think all of what? The Africans, the Latinos, Native Americans, and I forgot the other one. Where everybody else is born to go to hell? Wow, I don't read that. Knock off the foolishness. You understand? Because I don't care about color. I can care less about it. You know what I mean? What's up to Wanda? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. You said you or Gino don't know the Bible. Christianity is leading our people to hell. Who's in Christianity? Who said that? Who said anything about Christianity, right? I don't know. I don't know who said anything about being in Christianity. You know what I mean? You got to go do your homework. You got to go do your you got to do your homework. You understand? About what we profess. You got to go do your homework.
Viewers, I was reading one email tonight. Someone asked me, what exactly are you?
Are you listening, Israel? Put your ears to the speaker and turn it up.
What are you? They say, we know you're not Pentecostal. We know you're not non-denominational. What in the world are you? What do you profess? We profess a good profession. That's right. Before many witnesses. Our religion is not Christianity.
You hear that? Where did you get that from? You thought you had something. Man, you thought you had something when you said that.
Oh, I know that made some of you get out your chair. We believe in the term Christian. The word Christian just simply means to be like Christ. There's none better or worthy to be like.
So no. Ain't nobody, I ain't professing no Christianity. I don't know what you talking about. I don't know where you hear that from. You understand? You gotta do your homework, fella. Or ma'am, or whatever you are. All right, let's get back. What's up to David B, Sister A Brown? Shout out to you. Warrior for God says, Epic is just trolling. Resist the devil and it shall flee. That's funny. All right, Lily, you said politicians can be men of faith. Okay, that's agreeable. But they have to be careful about misrepresenting the word. Be very careful. You understand? Very. All right. Let me see where we at. Christopher Spence says, he says, see, many things he said I agree, but many things he said I disagree. For sure. What's up to Colin Spencer? Shout out to you. He said the crazy part is folks saying Charlie died as a martyr, whatever that is. Let me look up that term. I've seen that term around, but I just want to make sure. Excuse me. It says is a person who suffers or dies for a belief, cause, or principle, especially a religious one. Wow. Span says, but when it came to certain subjects, he was right, like the Skittles marriage, child blockers. All right, Odyssey says, no matter what he believes, Jesus is God and the Holy Ghost. You wrote, we see some deleted comments. All right, what's up to Leo? Shout out to you. He says, not for nothing, who is you or anyone speaking in general to tell me or anyone not to talk about politics? You're going to me as well, just saying. I agree with that. You understand? I agree with that part. And you know, you got sensitive people out there like that, like that shooter, and whatnot. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear certain things. It bothers them. So they go out and do stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, if, like, for example, Gino, how he talks about stuff like that, about people making threats because of what he preaches and whatnot. Or if a person disagrees with him, like the man at the gas station who tried to unalive him because of what he preached about marriage. You understand? Listen, we all are not going to agree a lot with other people in general. I don't agree with a lot of people. That's not gonna make me feel no type of way. I can say, man, I don't agree with this guy. He's an idiot. Turn the TV off. I'm going to sleep. I don't care after that. I'm not thinking about a man all night. Oh, man, I disagree with him. I'm going to plot to do this. No. Turn the TV off. Forget all about it. You understand? But you got idiots like that shooter. Pure idiot. I will say that. You understand? Pure idiot. All right? Span says, but I can't agree with his sense on the scriptures. Understandable. All right? David B says, they are saying that he was assassinated. You said he was just unalived. Right? Where we at? What kind of dumb question was that, you idiot? You say you've been smoking weed? These are working man eyes. Something you need to understand, you idiot. Now that you're upset that we played the truth, now you want to say stuff like that. You's an idiot. You's a weed smoker. You understand? I could get more disrespectful and say you smoke something else. You know what I mean? I could get real disrespectful, but we ain't. You understand? What kind of dumb question was that? It's called working man eyes. You understand? Anybody who works 60, 70, 80 hours a week and come on here, you ain't gonna be energized. You idiot. You understand? And you gotta go work out and take care of kids and shop and clean and video edit. What a fool. What a fool. Smoking weed. See, I could say I never smoked weed a day of my life. Can you? You understand? What an idiot. You know? But, you know, if anybody smoked weed before, I ain't talking about y'all. I'm just talking about that idiot. You understand? That person could stay in here. You know, as long as nobody is using racist terms and profanity, sexual remarks, the person could stay in here. All right? Now they want to talk about weed. Now they want to talk about weed. Now he says weed is good for you. You's an idiot. Why would you call me that term at the end? Fun boy. See, stuff like you get removed. You understand? You get removed. A grown man calling another grown man daddy? Like somebody said, they agree with Charlie Kirk on that stuff. I agree with him. You know? Fun boys. All right? How much time we got left? All right. Dunbar says, appreciate that, Mr. Dunbar. Appreciate that for sure. Weed. That's crazy. What's up to Gwendolyn? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. He says, Israel says, I know you and Tony for a while. I was under Gino for 2 years. You don't know me. No, you don't. You do not know me. You understand? Even people who talk to me for years and years. You know of me. You don't know me. I talk to a selective amount of people since I first started putting out the truth of God. And you ain't one of them. You don't know me. You know of me. You understand? So you don't. You know what I mean? I don't care if you're under a false name or whatever the case may be. I'm very cautious who I talk to directly. And you ain't one of them. You understand? You don't know me. Now, even those who grew up with me in Jersey City who's probably watching in the background, they're like, yeah, That's Harvin right there. You don't know him. You know what I mean? You really don't. What's up, the Rebel Eric? Shout out to you. So stop lying and say you know me. You don't. You don't. If you was under Gino for 2 years, why did you say we in Christianity? Didn't you say that earlier? You see the contradiction in the lies you put out? You see that? Didn't he say he was abusing Christianity, right, earlier? Now you're saying you was under Gino for 2 years? Make up your mind. Gino don't preach that he's under Christianity, so why would you say that? Wow. Contradiction. You contradicted yourself. Epic contradicted herself. Who's next? That's why you got to be careful what you say. You know what I mean? And then you lied and say you know me. You know of me. You don't know me. You understand? It's a big difference. All right, what's up to Miss Joy? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. Where we at? So I want to go back to this video right here.
Anything written by C.S. Lewis. Mere Christianity, read in harmony and in parallel to reading the Bible is...
So this guy supports or supported Christianity.
Terrific. Anything by Lee Strobel, especially Case for Christ, talks a lot about apologetics. It will give you more firm foundation for your faith. And then, of course, my friend, Dennis Prager, who continue your prayers for Dennis Prager, by the way. I visited Dennis Prager in the hospital last week, and he's fighting very hard. He's making significant progress. He is in a much better position than he was back when I saw him in December. He's in a far better position. But still, keep that legend in your prayers. He wrote something called the Rational Bible. Genesis.
Wow. The Rational Bible. So the guy agrees with Christianity and commentary from theologians. Wow. All right. Let's get to these comments. All right, Miss Joyce says, I honestly never heard of Charlie Kirk until this happened. What did he believe in? Christianity. I never heard of him until that happened too. You know? All right. What's up with Drago? Thelma, shout out to you. Miss Joyce says, people shouldn't celebrate his death no matter what he believed. For sure. I agree with you on that one. I agree with you. It's a lot of ignorant people on the internet for sure, right? Who is celebrating his death, which is crazy. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that also, for sure. Here we go. Where we at? What's up to Marcia? G Swole, what up, G Swole? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. You said this, G Swole, right? You says, I swear humanity is gone. The video I saw of people mocking that guy's death. Yeah, that's crazy. So those who's mocking his death, you better be careful. Stuff like that can have a boomerang effect on you. You know what I mean? People joking around, playing around with death. That's nothing to play around with. You know what I mean? Nothing to play around with at all. You know, I know we disagree with a lot of his stuff, but that's one thing. I disagree with those people who's doing that. You know? What's up to Show Enough? Albert Fuller, shout out to you. Hope all is well. He says, greetings, my young brother. How are you? I'm good. He says, I missed a few of your broadcasts, and peace to the brothers and sisters on this channel. Wonderful. Appreciate that. At Albert Fuller. All right. Fleming says, glad the authorities have taken the suspect into custody. I don't know much about the case, but was the shooter a sniper /higher. Well, they didn't say too much details on that. You understand? They just showed, you know, one website or one YouTube channel, the news. They showed the videos and the law enforcement officers kind of talking about it and whatnot. You understand? But anybody with that type of accuracy, you know what I mean? That type of accuracy, you had to train on something. Something. Like I said yesterday, that was an accurate shot to the artery in the neck. Accurate shot. You know what I mean? From that type of distance. You know? All right? Shelly House says, let's just face the fact that Kirk was a racist and didn't like black people, especially the men. You said, remember he called George Floyd a scumbag. Well, I didn't hear that one. Let me see if I can find that. I'm gonna see if I can find that, because I haven't heard that one. Calls George Floyd a scumbag. Let me see if we can find that over the internet. If you got the link, okay, somebody got it up, right, on a short. They put it up 8 hours ago. It said Charlie Kirk did not like black people. He called Martin Luther King awful and George Floyd a scumbag. Okay, we're gonna check it out. Let's check this video out. It's not playing. What's going on? Let me see.
5. Right-wing activist.
Oh man, this is like an AI.
Attention has.
Let me see.
2020.
Yeah, this is an AI, man. I thought this was him actually talking. No other video is coming up. So if you got the link to where he directly said that, feel free to send it to me. All right? Here we go. Let's go to some more comments. What's up to Sylvia James? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Shout out to you. Dunbar said, is heaven black and white? Question mark. Brett says, I'm white and I politely reject that offer. I'm trying not to go to hell. Thank you very much. Shout out to Brett. What's up to Jermaine, Herb Wise. Barney, shout out to you. Brett says, I don't care if I wake up and I'm plaid, I'm still going to try and avoid hell. Wonderful. What's up to Sandra Williams? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Paulette, shout out to you. What's this guy talking about? Don't geek. What are you talking about, man? Get out of here. What's up to Marco? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Herbert Fuller says, beware, my young brother, the trolls are brought forth by their father, the devil. Don't let them draw you into a biblical argument. That's what they intend to do. Wonderful. Appreciate the advice. Encouragement. Herbert Fuller. What's up to Anthony Nelson? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Man, we see some deleted comments. What's up to Marcia says, what about him being all for gun rights, even after all the kids, people, etc. died from gunshots? Thoughts? Gun rights. I didn't hear the video if he was when he was talking about gun rights. You know, that can be up for an argument or you know, a conversation about gun rights, because even some people in the churches, you know what I mean, they have guns. You understand that? They may agree with him. You understand? They may agree with him. They may halfway agree with him. Halfway agree with him, for the most part. But I haven't heard his video about gun rights. If you got the link, feel free to send it to me. All right, Henry Ross says, there was some hand signaling going on with Charlie's security. Just go watch the tape. I seen that part, but I don't know. I don't know. You understand? I can't say that, you know, it had something to do with that, because I don't know. You know what I mean? You know, people at events, you know, sometimes, you know, they wipe their eye, or, you know, scratch their arm, or, you know, fix their hat like I do sometimes, or whatever the case may be. And maybe it just so happened at that time, you know, they was just, you know, moving around a little bit. You know what I mean? But you know how the internet is. They try to look at it, you know, they try to be the police. They try to be detectives. Let detectives do their work. You understand that? I don't know why the internet think they police officers. You want to be the police? Listen, go apply, go sign up for it, go to the academy. About 6 months. You understand? Graduate, do field training. You know? They want to be detectives. So I don't know. I've seen that video also. Somebody said, look at you know, his security doing this and doing that. I don't know yet. You know, is it possible? Possibly. Is it not possible? Possible. Anything is up in the air. Anything. You know, people coming up with all these theories, and was he set up, or was he sacrificed, this, that. You know how the internet is. I'm just going to say, I don't know. I don't want to put nothing in the atmosphere that can deceive people. That's what a lot of these YouTubers are doing, deceiving and misleading people. They're gonna be accounted for all that deceiving and misleading people. You know what I mean? What they put on their YouTube channels, Facebook, TikTok, anything you put out there that's deceiving. You understand? Like stuff like that, without true facts. You know what I mean? Listen, if they don't repent and stuff like that, that's on them. You know what I mean? That's on them for sure. For those who's doing that, making the misleading videos and shorts and stuff like that. What's up? It's Just Straight Facts. Heat, known unknown. Shout out to you. Appreciate that. At Georgina Flemings. Prodigal Son says that shooter was 22, trained by his father. Wow. I gotta look that up. What's up, the Indoor? Shout out to you. SV, you funny. Oh man, that was funny. Let me see. We just going through the comments. What's up to David B? What's up to Larry? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Vala says, just because you know the Bible doesn't mean you practice it. I agree with that. That I agree with, for sure. You know what I mean? Of course, you know, you get the understanding, and then you got to apply it to your life. You know, a lot of people out here, you know, they try to quote scriptures and think they know the Bible from top to bottom, all around. You know what I mean? But they're not living it. So I agree with you on that one at Valor University. For sure. Indoor says you are working a 12-hour shift. Wow. What's up to Michael Hollingsworth? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. What's up to Mitchell? Shout out to you, Mitchell. SV says even Dr. Umar Johnson spoke about people mocking his death. Wow. Dr. Umar? Wow. Dr. Umar. What's up to Jose Ernest Beard? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Michael Hollingsworth says, I don't know a lot about Charlie Kirk. All I can say is that our thoughts and prayers are with his wife and children. Absolutely. I definitely agree with you on that one. You know? I appreciate that. I don't know what you're talking about after that at Valor. I ain't gonna read that. David B says his dad was former law enforcement. He grew up around a lot of guns. The Bass player says I never heard of Charlie Kirk either until he was unalive. He seemed to be have racist viewpoints. He says, but no way would I celebrate even a bigot's murder. Wow. G. Swole says, yes. He said, yeah, I try to watch what I say about people dying, disability, and serious medical issues when I do fear what they're going through can come back to me. What's up to A. Wooten? Shout out to you. We got about 10 minutes left before we knock off. We got about 10 minutes left before we get up out of here. You know, appreciate y'all for coming on, having this conversation. What's up to EFP? Shout out to you. Hope all is well at Epic. Excuse me, EFP. I don't know why that person name is on my brainer. You know, EFP, my mistake. You know, please forgive me for that. I repent. Big time for saying that person's name. Big time. All right, Sylvia James said, yes, the gunner was a sniper. And today, Dunbar said, the difference between people being taught how to use guns now and in the 1800s through the 1900s is that today it's to unalive, and back then it was to hunt. It's what you teach them how to use it. Good point. Good point. All right, David B says, Kirk once said that a few gun deaths were worth having the Second Amendment. I think I might have heard a little bit of that. I think I may have. What's up to Bobby Gonzalez? I think I heard that yesterday. All right, Miss Joyce says, is it wrong to have a gun for protection? Is it wrong to have a gun for protection? Is it wrong? Listen, I'm not answering that question.
Some people's quick temper.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, quick temper.
Oh, yeah.
Tell them something, they just jump up in the air like a rocket ship.
That's true.
Ready to fight. You got church folks still carry guns.
That's right.
Come out, they go hunting. You don't hunt with a 38. You hunt with a 45.
45.
You hunt with a German Luger. Church people.
That's right.
You got preachers that carry 38s in their glove compartment,
Yeah.
38s in their briefcase,
Yeah.
38s in their armrests.
Oh, yes.
Preachers.
Preachers.
Amen.
Preachers that got switchblades, straight razors, and they ain't shaving.
Right.
Preachers. Well, I'm not going to answer that question. I just let the preacher man talk about it. Because there's pros and cons with that, even with people in the churches and whatnot. It's a good conversation. It's a good conversation for the most part. You know, but some people may say, I'm a woman, you know, I get up in the morning, 2 in the morning to go to work. I'm a nurse. I got to walk to my car, XYZ. You understand? Some people live in areas where there's wildlife, bears and whatnot. Literally. They got to walk out their house early in the morning or come home late. Hey, I advise them to go speak to a minister about that. You know what I mean? Speak to a minister. Because there's some people in the truth of God, they do have weapons, right? For hunting purposes. You know what I mean? So Gino don't preach, you can't have it at all, right? But what is your purpose? Are you going hunting with it? You know what I mean? We know a lot of folks who got firearms, Glock 17s and Glock 19s and stuff like that. Come on, we know that. It's a conversation. You understand? It's a conversation. It's a good conversation. I'm not going to answer that question. I let the ministers handle that. You know what I mean? I let them handle that for sure. You know? All right? Marcia says, did anyone see on Facebook that a book concerning his death came out a day before he got unalive? I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that one. Mitchell said he was not a sniper. He has a, .30 rifle with a 0 in scope and 200, 300 yards away. Anyone could have made that shot. Very interesting. All right. Appreciate that comment. Appreciate that indoor. Shout out to you. What's up to number 33? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Truth Hurts? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Shout out to Straight Facts. Mercy Carr. What's up to Be Holy? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Gregory, shout out to you. We got about a couple of more minutes. We're going to knock off. Definitely appreciate y'all for coming on here, having this conversation. If you got any last closing remarks, any last comments, so we can wrap this thing up. You know, Lord willing, we'll be on tomorrow. I'm looking forward to talking about Crawford and Canelo. You understand? We're going to have that conversation tomorrow, hopefully maybe in the afternoon, you know, because I want to rest throughout the day tomorrow for the most part. So I may come on in the afternoon. We're going to talk about Crawford and Canelo because, you know, that's the big thing for tomorrow, who's going to win. And I'll give my viewpoints tomorrow about that, about Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford and whatnot, because I see some of y'all talking about it. And we can discuss that, talk about that tomorrow for a good hour for the most part. You know what I mean? Good fight, you know what I'm saying, in general, but we'll discuss it tomorrow. It was a good conversation today, whatever the case may be. Shout out to everybody out there, those in the background also. Those in the background, shout out to the background people. I see y'all, but I don't see y'all. You understand? SV says, can a boxing match end in a draw? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Lamont Roach and Javante Davis. You know what I mean? That was a draw. You know, in the amateurs, no. In the amateurs, no. It can't be no draw in the amateurs. You know what I mean? So if I'm fighting the Golden Gloves, and it's usually 3 rounds, depending on what division you're in. It could be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. There's no draw in the Golden Gloves. You go to the National Golden Gloves, there's no draw. But when you go to the pros, you sign your pro contract, it could be a draw in the pros, but not the amateurs. All right? Sylvia James says, I just got bumped off your videos. I don't know why. We could discuss that tomorrow at G Swole. We could discuss the boxing stuff tomorrow. I'm trying to get some rest tonight, you know, in general. So God bless to everybody out there. We'll be on tomorrow talking about Canelo and Terrence Crawford and any other, you know, boxing stuff and things like that. I hope everybody have a wonderful night, a peaceful sleep. You understand? Even if you disagree with me, no hard feelings. It is what it is. You understand? So God bless to everybody out there. Tony Harvin of the Tony Harvin Network YouTube channel. All right? I'm out. Peace.